In this video, I want to show you why this important formula is true. Now, looking at this formula, let's think about what it's saying. It's saying that the number of elements in A cross B, the number of ordered pairs in A cross B, is equal to the number of elements in A multiplied by the number of elements in B. Now, an important distinction to make here is that this is cross product. This is not times, not multiplication. This right here is multiplication. Remember that this notation here, this is the number of elements in B. That's the cardinality. All right, so now let's think about why this is true. And I think an example shows this perfectly. So as an example, let's take A equal to the set 1, 2, 3, and B equal to the set 4, 5, 6, 7. Now notice, first of all, that the cardinality of A, this is 3. There's 3 elements there. And the cardinality of B is 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 elements in B. All right, so now I'm going to write out the elements of A cross B. Now I'm not going to put these in a set. I'm not going to have the set brackets on the ends because I'm not saying the set A cross B. I'm saying the elements of A cross B. So let's write these out. So you would have 1 with 4, 1 with 5, 1 with 6, and 1 with 7. Then you'd say, okay, 2 with 4, 2 with 5, 2 with 6, and 2 with 7. And now lastly, 3 with 4, 3 with 5, 3 with 6, and 3 with 7. And so now how many elements are there in A cross B? Right, you can see that there's 12 of them. Now, why is there 12 of them? Sure, you might say, okay, well, there's 12 of them because I counted them and there's 12 of them. But that's not why there's 12 of them. All right, let's just, before we talk about that, let's just first verify that our formula is correct. Right. Our formula says that A cross B is the cardinality of A times the cardinality of B. And we see from above, right here and here, that in fact the cardinality of A is 3. 3 times 4, which is 12. Now, so what's going on here, right? So why is our formula correct? Our formula is correct because we have 4 points for the first coordinate 1, and we have 4 points for the first coordinate 2, and we have 4 points for the first coordinate 3. So there's 3 first coordinates, and for each one of these first coordinates there's 4 second coordinates. So that makes 3 times 4. Now this is why, because we have 3 times 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. This is why the formula works. All right, now we could easily generalize this to show why it's true in general. So let's look at that. So now we'll say A is the set x1, x2, x3, and so on, all the way till we get up to xm. So here notice that the cardinality of A is m. And we could say B, this is y1, y2, y3, all the way up to yn. So the cardinality of B is n. All right, so now let's write out the elements of A cross B. Well, let's see, how would we do this? We would say x1 goes with y1. Then we'd say x1 goes with y2. Then x1 goes with y3. And we just keep doing this up to x1 going up to yn. Okay, so now we've exhausted all of the ones whose first coordinate is x1. Now x2, y1, x2, y2, x2, y3, up to x2, yn. Now, let's see, x3, y1, x3, y2, x3, y3, x3, yn. And we could keep doing this. I guess, in fact, I will need more room. All right. And we could keep doing this for a long time. We would just keep doing this for, we'd do it for x4, same thing. And then we eventually we'd stop when we got to xm, y1, xm, y2, xm, y3, all the way out to, let's see, xm, yn. And so now we say, okay, well, how many points do we have here? Right? There's n points with x1 as the first coordinate. Right? There's 1, 2, 3, all the way up to n. There's n points with x1 as the first coordinate. Similarly, there's n points with x2 as the first coordinate, and n points with x3 as the first coordinate, n points with x4 as the first coordinate, and so on until we get to there being n points with xm as the first coordinate. Oops. So how many elements are there in A cross B? There's m times n. So the cardinality of A cross B in general, we said, was m times n. Now remember, what was m and n? M and n, m was the cardinality of A, right? So this is the cardinality of A, times n is the cardinality of B. And so you could consider this a proof. This would be a proof of this formula. And notice, the thing to notice here is that this proof had more to do with understanding what was going on than anything else, right? What helped us to prove this theorem, the theorem being that this formula is correct, was the first that we understood why it was correct. And the thing that helped us to do that was we did an example first.